So I recently had another opportunity to shoot alongside both the Canon C400 and the DJI Ronin 4D. And on this shoot, it was really clear to me that the Canon C400 has a lot of really useful features that actually came in very handy, and they're definitely not gimmicks. I really want to talk about the features that the Canon C400 offers, and yes, if you're wondering, by the way, the two cameras play together very nicely. Let's dive in. Okay, so a little background, let me preface this video. So I've already done a shoot where this was kind of an initial shoot when I first got the Canon C400 because I really wanted to compare it to the DJI Ronin 4D and compare the colors and the color science and the grading compared to the DJI Ronin 4D and the Sony a7S III. If you guys haven't already, check out the video, I'll link it in the description here, but basically we shot a shoot for a small business owner at her house, and she really just wanted to do like a quick interview thing introducing her products. What I can tell you, the biggest takeaway from that video is they all did really well. They all can get in the realm of each other, right? You can definitely use them as an A camera, B camera, C camera, and all that. There's a little bit more color grading involved with the DJI Ronin 4D, but also, to be fair, I had just gotten the Canon and it was the camera that I wasn't as familiar with, and because I was comparing everything to the Canon, I felt like I was changing the Sony and a DJI so I could reflect what the Canon was showing. And I had the most experience with the Sony a7S III, and also that video really highlighted just how great the Sony a7S III is. I mean, it was holding up its own with much more expensive cameras that are cinema quality, right? So check out that video. Now in today's video, I had another opportunity to use it out on the field, right? In a professional shoot, in a professional environment, and we're just using a Canon C400 and the DJI Ronin 4D, not the Sony a7S III this time, but I've had more experience with the Canon. A little bit of background on this shoot. It is for a personal trainer. We shot it at the gym, and it's a multi-segment or multi-project video shoot where he wanted a video that was an interview, introducing himself, what he does, and then he also wanted to do a fun, like quick, interesting facts, right? Things that you may or may not know, trivia regarding health and fitness. And then the last project or segment that he wanted was kind of like an Instagram reel, a flashy thing with, you know, transitions and smooth, the things that you usually see on Instagram, right? I used the Canon C400 and a DJI Ronin 4D in the interview setting where we switched back and forth between the two. What I can tell you is, right off the bat, this time around, I found that they both played really, really nice with each other. It was not like the first time around where I felt like the DJI was a little bit harder to color grade in post with D-Log versus, you know, Canon RAW, or in this case, we shot C-Log. And this time around, it was just super, super easy. And then we had a 3-point light system. So we had a hair light or a projector light projecting off of them in the back, giving them that separation. And then we had a fill and a key light. And then we had some practical lights. The tube lights that you see here, I told you guys I would. We used them out in the field. Fantastic tube lights. I already did a video on that. Check out the description below. It was really effortless this time around. The two cameras just mesh really, really well. But this video is mainly about the Canon. So let's talk a little bit more about the shoot. Now, after we did the interview, we went off the tripods and I grabbed the Canon C400 and I wanted to use the Canon C400 for the workout videos. It's the fact that, you know, we wanted those like quick handheld, quick motion shots for that Instagram social media reel, right? You can do the same thing with the DJI. With the Ronin 4D, you can actually go into sports mode and you can get those cool shots and all that. So it's not about that the DJI wasn't capable. It's just about, let's use the Canon. So all of those shots, the B-roll portion of the workouts and things like that, were actually shot in 6K RAW in 60 frames per second. Never experienced overheating, never experienced any memory card issues, nothing like that. absolutely reliable. In this shoot, you'll notice that I was running V-mount batteries. We had wireless transmitters and all that. I'm going to talk about those a little bit later. Those were actually all from Axsoon, and they had sponsored the videos. They sent out the wireless transmitters and the headsets, and they have a really great, really great V-mount plate, right? That takes the wireless transmitter and then connects to your V-mount, whatever V-mount, plate that you have for the camera, and then you attach the battery, and the whole thing is powering the camera and the transmitters. It's fantastic, but again, that's for another video. So that would bring me to my first very useful feature, right? And this was something I was debating about when I was trying to decide between the Canon C400 or the C80. Having the full frame resolution at 60p is incredibly useful, including having RAW. Like, I can't stress that enough, right? That was something that they kind of Canon cripple hammered on the C80, and it's already came in like super clutch. The next thing I want to talk about is just having like the body, right? That little like box cinema camera style body. It's really nice. Like sometimes with the Ronin 4D, I do get tired, right? It's heavy, it's kind of off balance. Ronin 4D is great, ergonomics is great, but the box style, it all just kind of fits. Like it's all just compact, it fits. I found myself very comfortable with the camera, and I didn't get as fatigued as I usually would with the Ronin 4D. And I think that has a lot to do with like the center mass and just how it balances, right, when you're holding it. I have thought about getting like a rig or an arm or something for the Ronin 4D, because sometimes you just get fatigued. I'm not saying you're not going to get fatigued with the C400, especially when you're doing the V-mount batteries and all that stuff, but I just felt like I lasted a little bit longer. This shoot was around 4 hours total for the interview, and then for the B-roll and all that, and that's not including, unpacking and packing and all that. And I feel like for the workout segment, we probably spent like an hour and a half where I didn't get any rest, right? Going from one machine to another, and maybe like an hour, and I felt fine. The next thing I want to talk about is triple base ISO. I'm super happy that we had triple base ISO on the shoot. So we're at a gym. The gym is 24 hours, right? When we're doing the interview segment, we had a room that was blocked off, and we were able to reserve. It was like an upstairs conference, or like I don't know what you want to call it, but it was a place that we could dedicate, right, and close off and reserve for a few hours uninterrupted. And then when we got to the bottom floor in the workout section, that was completely out of our control. So we tried to go when the gym was dead, quote unquote, when there was the least amount of traffic. So it actually kind of got busier, right? And we couldn't interrupt the clients. We couldn't interrupt the other trainers. We couldn't interrupt, the business. For safety reasons, you don't want lights and stands and all that for people to trip over while they're working out and lifting weights. So with that being said, I was really only allowed to take one portable light, and it had to be a small portable light, the Godox ML60 bicolor. It was better than nothing. We're still able to manipulate the shadows a bit, but there's areas in the gym that were absolutely dark, and the triple base ISO on that camera really came in clutch, right? I mean, I was toggling between 3200 and was it 12,800? Remember, we're shooting RAW. We're gonna do this in like log, whatever, right? Like, you need to make sure your exposure is right, or else you get a lot of grain. And in some shots, it wasn't 100%, and maybe I should have toggled to the higher triple base ISO, and I saw some grain. But overall, the image was absolutely beautiful. Yes, theoretically, we're pros. We should have our lighting up to par, but that's not always the case. Even in Hollywood movies, sometimes they just don't have the space to bring in everything that they want, or they may not have the permits, or city ordinance or laws will restrict them from doing certain things at the location that they feel like they need to shoot at. That's when the triple base ISO comes in handy. Absolutely not a gimmick. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the image quality. I am super impressed with the image quality from the C400 and the DJI Ronin 4D. And again, they mesh up really well as an A and B camera. But what I really want to specifically talk about, and I may do a future video, if you go into the menu settings and you tweak things a little bit, you can really make the camera look a certain way. I was really kind of, I don't know, disappointed that Canon wasn't going with the C70 sensor, because that was a amazing sensor that gave more of a film look. So what I'm trying to say is I might do a future video where I'll go and deep dive my settings a bit, but if you tweak them just a little bit, you kind of get this really nice in the middle image where you definitely get that like film look somewhere in the middle between a film look and that digital look, without it being like way overly digital. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Those of you out there that know, you know, sometimes cameras have just a really digital look and you're like, where's the character? Where's that film look? And yeah, you can do stuff in post, but sometimes you just want it to look amazing right off the bat. This camera can do it. So far, I have found that the image quality is absolutely stunning. The blacks are rich and the highlights are manageable. The shadows look amazing. Skin tones and the color science is fantastic. And honestly, if you're considering the C400, I highly recommend it. If you're curious about the shoot that I did for the client, the workout video and all that, I will put a link in the description below, tagging the personal trainer, all his social media accounts, his YouTube, Instagram, things like that. And then I'll also link in the description of this video the videos that we shot for him in case you guys are interested. I'll likely just release them on their own, or maybe I'll just link you to his page. That's it for me, guys. I hope you found this video informative, and if you did, please consider subscribing and joining our channel memberships. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, everybody.